Weirdmageddon is one of the best finales to any show I've seen. It pays off the build-up from the rest of the show, has great character moments, and had a sense of finality that made it so you don't feel like you need more Gravity Falls to get the rest of the story, though I'd still love some more Gravity Falls. Starting from the payoffs, the finale shows the true risk that Bill posed throughout the entire series, as well as the danger of the rift that came along with Ford coming back into this reality. The other option would have been to talk about how big of a threat it is as opposed to showing it, which a lot of shows have done, and it's always disappointing when they do that. Weirdmageddon also showed Bill as the threat that he was built up to be. It was one thing throughout the series when they would just talk about it, but actually seeing what Bill can do, I could see it actually traumatizing some kids. Another fun thing that it did was bring back some old characters like Blendon and the Gnomes. Then there's also the Cipher Wheel, something that had been shown at the end of every episode, as well as something the fans of the show speculated about once we realized how deep this rabbit hole really could go. Throughout the show, the pieces fell into place, and once the opportunity to use it arose, it fell flat. While anticlimactic in a lot of ways, I also love this. I love it because of the character work done for the older set of Pines twins, and how the screw-up was also the beginning of their resolution. That leads nicely into the next section, the character work, the main focus of this being the stands. Ever since Ford's return, there's been a clear rift between the brothers, and I see their broken dynamic being a mirror of what Dipper and Mabel's dynamic could have ended up being, or maybe still could end up being. In Tale of Two Stands, it's shown that the older Pines twins were just like Dipper and Mabel. They were inseparable and made up for what the other one lacked. Their old dynamic is reflected in Dipper and Mabel, who are still working as a duo, while the stands, in their own ways, are why the world is about to come to an end. These two reconciling being what saves Dipper and Mabel from Bill, and what ultimately gives the Pines family the chance to take down Bill, is a great way to wrap up these characters' arcs. Now I'm going to talk about the younger Pines twins. It's a common criticism that Mabel was being selfish all of a sudden, even though she was selfish all the way through the show. She was always a my way or the highway style character. Her being selfish wasn't sudden, but throughout Weirdmageddon, she does learn to be less selfish and to be less in her own head, which is symbolized by her literally having to get out of her own head, her own fantasy world in Mabelland. Speaking of Mabelland, somebody please throw Dippy Fresh into a volcano. That is all. Back to what I was saying, the episode before Weirdmageddon started, Dipper and Mabel versus the future, showed everything was falling apart for Mabel. Her perception of high school and what her teen years will be like were shattered, her best friends won't be around for her birthday or to see her off, and the final straw is that Dipper, her twin, the person that she's always had beside her, was planning to stay in Gravity Falls with Ford, which would leave her by herself. It is childish that she was willing to throw away reality over this, but she is an emotionally volatile preteen, a literal child. It makes sense. There is development though. While in Mabelland, Dipper and Mabel reconcile and Mabel accepts Dipper's decision, even though he does choose to go back home with her. It was still character growth, and it shows their unbreakable bond, which is contrasted by the stands who can't stop arguing long enough to save the world. Dipper had his moments too, but he was already a fully developed character before the finality. If we're being real, between Dipper and Mabel, Dipper is the main character, so it makes sense that he's already a fully developed character by this point. The other thing I want to talk about is the finality of this finale. While that might sound stupid, a lot of shows end without feeling like they're complete. Something like Teen Titans, or one that's more personal, is Steven Universe. One doesn't have a real finale, and the other one was rushed and had an overly packed finale, and then it got a shitty epilogue series. There's also countless manga and anime that are on indefinite hiatus, series such as Hunter x Hunter and Dragon Ball Super due to both having unfortunate circumstances holding their series back right now. Unlike all these other situations, Gravity Falls' ending ended while wrapping up all loose ends, ending the show on the creator's terms, and giving one final mystery for the show, that being the Cipher Hunt. It's something oddly rare in shows and franchises where the show ends on the creator's terms and has minimal bad episodes. I say minimal because no show is perfect. Gravity Falls, since it began airing, has been one of my favorite shows, so I'll probably be talking about it more often. That's what I've got for today. The next video should be about an anime, so hopefully you'll come back for that. Have a nice day, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.